Hey, what's up people? It's TTC. Today we're going to have a look at the Jazwares World of Halo Masterchief and Warthog. This is based on how everything looks in the Halo Infinite game. I know it's not everybody's favourite game, but I actually quite enjoyed it. I know a lot of the problems people were having were online. I'm more of a play the campaign story kind of guy. I enjoyed it. It felt like a pretty good end cap to a series of games I've been playing for nearly 20 years now. Don't know about anyone else, but I have never been able to drive a Warthog in any of the games. It's pretty much a guarantee I'll end up either upside down or sideways or just rolling across the map at some point. It's actually a bit of a story behind why I ended up buying this. So I originally had the 7-inch Spartan Collection version of Masterchief, and this guy is seriously cool. Like if you are looking for a decent Halo figure, this is it right here. You know, from the dirty, weathered up paint job with the scratches and dings, all the different weapons, multiple different interchangeable hands, and that shiny chrome visor there. It all just looks so cool. One day though, sadly, he just decided he'd had enough of life and threw himself off a shelf. There's no visible reason for it really, nothing knocked him. Nothing knocked it over, nobody was even anywhere near it. He just went flying from a pretty high up shelf and broke both of the hips, both of his ankles, and part of his foot. I managed to sort of fix this hip here, but this one and both of his feet and whatever are all just glued in place now. It still looks fine just standing there I suppose, but you know, once you know something's broken, it's just really not the same, is it? I was originally just going to replace him, but he seemed to shoot right up in price. If you watch any of my videos up to now, you'll know I don't really like to spend too much money if I don't have to. So I guess I just decided the smaller figures would be a nice compromise really. Although you don't really seem to find them that well here in the UK. Seen a couple of Chiefs going for sort of 15 to 20 quid online. So when I found him with this Warthog for 20, I just jumped straight on that. Side by side like this, it definitely looks like they just shrunk the big one down to make this. Maybe simplified some of the articulation a little bit. I really like this colour green that they went with. It still shows off the battle damage and dirt. Obviously the less shiny, just sort of orange visor. It's not as good, but it does the job. The bigger version had like a couple of sections with pegs like on his hip and on his back to attach his weapons. But this one works slightly differently. It comes with his... I always get the assault rifle and the battle rifle mixed up. I'm going to say assault rifle. Could have maybe done with a little bit more paint. You know, like adding the little screen on it. But at this size, you know, it would have been absolutely tiny. The way they've gone about their weapon storage is there's this giant peg on the back. Chief's got this little hole in his back. You just whack it in. Like that. Seems to hold fine, but let's test it out. Yep, that's not going anywhere. We'll presume that if you buy other sets with different weapons, they'd all have these pegs so you can interchange them. He does, for the most part, sort of fit in this driver's seat, if you ram him in there. It's not perfect, either he's slightly too big or the car's slightly too small. It works though. I don't have any of the Marines or anything, but you'd assume with them being smaller that they'd probably fit in here slightly better. You can at the very least have one hand on the wheel and one hand on the gear stick at the same time. Yeah, from the front view you can definitely see his head sticks up just a little bit too high on the window. This giant chain gun at the back here, which I'm sure has got a name that I can't remember right now. It's got one little foot peg just there, so you can get your Chief standing up on it. There you go, it, for the most part, looks like he's holding it. The gun has like a little bit of articulation here. Knock him over. Moves up and down. You know, if you want to shoot someone right in front of you, or slightly above right in front of you, then you're safe. And it's also got a side-to-side swivel. Well, more of a pick it up, move it and put it back down again kind of swivel. See, the front of the vehicle's really well sculpted. It looked just slightly too clean when I got it, so I've just added the tiniest little bit of dirt, using some black and brown and a bit of yellow paint. I really want to keep it quite subtle, but I think it adds a bit of realism. Looks pretty cool. All four of the wheels spin individually to each other. If you're one of these people who wants to sit in the middle of your floor and play brum brum, then, you know, more power to you, there you go. Even ignoring just the bit of dirt that I've added to it, it is quite nicely weathered. There's all these sort of metal scratches and dings. All the handles and everything look cool, the little UNSC logos. I think they've done a really good job of all of that. Despite being from a game, there's something quite realistic looking about that. We can have a quick look inside. It's a little bit basic, but what more do you need, really? Obviously all the little screens are painted. Everything's sculpted well enough. For a part of the vehicle you're not really going to see most of the time, it looks pretty good. That includes the back here. Yeah, obviously it's a little bit plain, but you're not going to be looking at that. I think it does the job. On the back there's these 4 petrol canisters. They're all quite easily removable. They just sort of go on with these little pegs. I actually think that's a really nice little addition for a bit of world building, or say if you're a kid playing with these, you've got some actual accessories that your toys can interact with. Comparison wise, the only other Halo figure I've got is this Brute that I recently got. I'd never call myself a Halo expert, but I think these two look pretty good standing next to each other. About right size wise, I'd assume. He's obviously not going to fit in the driver's seat. He does actually look pretty good hanging out the back though. That's surprisingly quite cool. Whilst I am curious to see whether Chief can hold this gravity hammer. Yeah, that's actually not too bad. Obviously with it being a bigger weapon, it's going to stretch his hands out the longer you leave it in there, so you've got to be careful of that. But look at that, that's pretty cool. So there you have it. What do you guys think? Is that a good enough compromise? I think it works pretty well, and as the obvious added bonus of the Warthog, you're probably not going to get one of those in 7-inch scale. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe on this video. Still a new channel, so any help that you give me is much appreciated. Any specific ideas for any future videos, let me know. I'll see what I can do. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.